Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only, Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I am Mighty the Armadillo here. We are back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Wario, Master of Disguise, aka in Japan, Wario D7 for the likes of the Nintendo DS. So, last time we have completed episode 1, and overall, we've almost got every single treasure on that particular chapter, but regardless of everything else though, it's just the fact of our first impressions just feels a bit meh as far as a result from like progression goes. So today, for this video is the fact that we are moving on to episode 2, or if I like to call it chapter 2. So in some cases though, I get the strong sense of feeling that we're gonna be still ended up in the forms of that cruise ship world, as far as I'm aware. So hopefully we're able to guarantee to have not so much frustration. Well, there might be some bit of tedium here and there, but regardless of such though, let's get this thing to it on episode 2. So, and I do apologize for that particular uploading schedule problem, because, well, we somehow fell a little bit behind when it comes to, like, commentary and stuff. The purple wind stinks up the ship. Interesting, huh? So yeah, we still ended up going into this particular ship environment, so I get the feeling that we might able to actually stumble across into some more disguise gems as far as I'm aware. Well, we'll point out whenever we get to one of those specific chests that does manage to able to contain green colored chests as far as I'm aware. So, not much else to talk about, I'm afraid, guys, apart from the fact that well, relatively speaking though, is the fact that today's day is of course the 4th of November today, in this case in 2022 today, and for those of you who lived in the UK, happy 11th anniversary of the release of Sonic Generations for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in the UK version, which, gee, I can't believe that particular game has been out for 11 years now, you know? Well, at least no matter what though, for what I've noticed on the Forms of the City Escape level in Act 1 or Act 2, that basically I love the fact that they managed able to contain the wanted poster for the likes of both me and Ray the Flying Squirrel nonetheless. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool though, Mighty, especially because you guys haven't been existent until, you know, when Sonic Mania Plus now exists anyway. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, is the fact that I honestly appreciate about the forms of that particular appearances or something. So, anywho though, another thing I just want to point things out as well, I guess, is the fact that until by that time, that we actually get ourselves some tons of information we can able to discuss upon. First of all, you know with that particular Sonic Prime, Netflix series? Yeah, what sort of things about it though, Sonic? Well, I'm happy to report about the fact that, well, it's getting its release date, and it's gonna say December 15th in this year. So, yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to that though, especially whenever we see the trailer of the actual Netflix series, it does look pretty cool, because not only does it show us me, Shadow, and Big the Cat again, but this time around though, we finally get a chance to see not only Tails, but also Knuckles, and especially noticeable with Amy, and out of nowhere, Rouge the Bat. So, interesting choice, huh? Although, it kind of almost reminded me of the forms of the Sonic Boom cartoon, except, well, obviously with all its different voice actors who were there. And on top of all that stuff though, Mighty, is the fact that, well, we're still able to actually see Dr. Eggman here and there. In fact, kind of think about it, what I've noticed something right from the start though, is the fact that the voice actor choice for Dr. Eggman in Sonic Prime is going to be in exactly the same voice as in not only Knuckles the Echidna from Sonic Underground. Well, mind you, Knuckles only appeared in 3 episodes, what I've heard, in Sonic Underground. Oh yeah, with the forms of the 3-part episodes combined, with all, you know, what they Master Emerald or something like that. Well, it's been donkey's years since I actually last watched Sonic Underground, despite it's not usually the most popular Sonic cartoons out there, unlike the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, despite I found it's a little bit cringeworthy sometimes. And I will say that I will still say about the fact that between Sonic Boom, alongside with the forms of Sonic the Hedgehog SatAM, basically those are the only cartoons, and maybe Sonic X, despite the fact there's some controversials out there for, you know, when it comes to Chris Thorndike did manage to make his appearance, which most Sonic fans were able to be like, get the heck out of here, Chris Thorndike, you don't belong here. Well, to be fair though, because it was based off of anime, so they have to include human characters here and there, so I guess that makes it pretty obvious that, well, at least it's alright, but either way though. Anyway, between both Sonic Boom and Sonic the Hedgehog SatAM, although I will say Sonic SatAM is the definition of the pure gold era when it comes to Sonic cartoons, in my opinion, despite the second season got cancelled though, so it kind of sucks anyway though, so at least back in the day that is, so anywho, so in addition with, you know, with the actor called Brian Drummond? Oh yeah, I've heard about that actor, but I've never actually seen that voice in action. Well, like I mentioned this before, Mighty, is the fact that he not only did himself the voice actor from the likes of Knuckles the Echidna from Sonic Underground, but there's also Double Diamond in My Little Pony, of all things, Friendship is Magic anyway, you know, with the part where the forms of the fact that she was, well, he was actually at one point in Season 5, where he becomes a slavement to Starlight Glimmer. Oh yeah, that. And on top of all that stuff though, he also did Vegeta at one point, so in some cases though in Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Z, I'm sure it's Dragon Ball Super or something, so either way though, it's been a very long time since I actually known about the forms of several cartoons in the past, but either way though, because, well, let me tell you straight off the bat though, folks, that the reason why this has actually taken a bit too long to able to actually get this uploading schedules going for Wario Master of Disguise, it's not just because about the forms of, well, despite the fact that I still don't usually like the game as much as the forms of the Wario Land games, because hopefully by that time until in 2023, that hopefully we'll go back into the basics anyway when it comes to Wario Land the Shake Dimension, so, or Wario Land Shake It, if those of you lived in America, so, anywho though, anyway, what are you trying to say for this point, Sonic? Oh, because the reason being for this is because we are still busy playing through Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope recently, and as far as progression goes, we're actually almost done with the game actually. Like, we actually got to the last point of the game, so as a result though, we actually getting pretty close towards the end of the game, and as far as I'm aware, for my opinions of the game after, well, before I get into the finale portion of the game, well, almost 100% everything in the game, I had a lot of fun playing that game, especially notable because, well, at least potentially speaking though, because of how the fact that, well, I just found the combat system or the turn-based strategy combat kind of thing that is actually pretty fun to go through, especially because now you can able to actually move your character instead of Bebo, and on top of all that stuff though, it's just the fact that I just found it as a blast to play, despite the absence of multiplayer, sadly, but regardless of such though, it does not ruin the game for me, so, and also I still really love the atmosphere on certain planets, and especially noticeable, man, the music is top notch even to this day. I think my favorite track will have to be by the forms of Pristine Peaks, alongside with the forms of the third planet, which appears to be by the forms of, I know it's something related to Autumn, but regardless of such though, oh man, the soundtrack is amazing in Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, so, anywho, so let's get back into the topic about the forms of Sonic Prime. Basically, Dr. Eggman, he's gonna be voiced by Brian Drummond, so, yeah, pretty swell, I have to say. Mind you, it won't be exactly the same familiar actor as the forms of Sonic Boom cartoon, alongside with the forms of Sonic X, because usually, he's always been voiced by Mike Pollock, which I will say is the greatest Dr. Eggman voice actor of all time, and as a result of that kind of stuff though, well, I totally get it. Oh, and also say applies with Jim Carrey as the Sonic movie duology at the moment, when it comes to you know, as Dr. Ivor Robotnik or Dr. Eggman for Jim Carrey in the actual voice actor for both Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the movie counterparts. So we're still not exactly sure if the third one might able to bring him back, but it's so hard to tell at this rate, because as far as I'm aware, we're still in 2022, and we've only just got about 2 years before the third film is going to be releasing, so sometimes it just takes some bit of time to able to release certain stuff here and there, so... Anywho though, let's go ahead and transform into ourselves Cosmic Wario, so just in case we can able to just, well, fire the actual beam shots at the chandelier, so we can able to actually use those as platforms. Well, despite the fact that they will break if they somehow manage to come to a floor, so in some cases though, that the reason why we have to backtrack for a bit is because, well, I suppose there's one thing I forgot to mention about in terms of this game in particular. This game is pretty much a Metroidvania type of game, like you explore from room to room, and then basically it does remind me of the other Metroid series of games, which I don't mind it per se, but executionally though, it just feels a bit all over the place, like fills the brim with touchscreen controls in a 2D plane, and I kind of wish though about the fact that, well, again, it's so hard to explain because it's been a very long time since I actually last played this game for sure, but anyways, let's go and open up the purple chest, and this is where we meet up with the final game in the entire minigame selection in Wario Master of Disguise. And kind of think about it, this minigame right here is very similar to the forms of how it does it that you find from the likes of, let's just say, based off from Super Mario 64 DS or something. Well, the only difference is being this time is the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, that actually I just realized something, is the fact that every time when Wario touches the gem, he goes like, yeah. I wonder what that voice is actually familiar from. Well, mind you about the fact that it has been, you know, like I said before, a very long time since I actually, like, last played this for sure. I mean, mind you, we only just managed able to get started with this game, basically, so... And the final minigame we did play is actually known as Wario's Ladder, so... Yeah, I think suffice to say, we've played every single minigames in the entire game. I'm not kidding, there's only 8 minigames, so... Not much variety, and also on top of all that stuff though, it might get a bit repetitive at times, especially because, well, you're obviously going to be going for the exactly the same minigames over and over and over and over again if you manage able to get into the later levels of the game, so... It's all about repetition, I'm telling you. It's all about repetition, so... And as you can see, we've actually stumbled across the next disguise, and this time, this one appears to be by the forms of RT Wario, which... The only thing he does, though, is the fact that you can able to activate... Well, if you draw a square, for instance, and, well, as we're shown here, basically, though, if you draw a square, it actually creates a block. And there's also another shape you can able to perform, that if you're trying to able to draw a rectangle, while at the same time you can have to able to do a diagonal line, basically that actually creates a door. I'm not exactly sure what that door does though, but I'm thinking there might be something a little bit more of a secrecy or something. Well, mind you, about the fact of the matter is though... Oh wait, I just realized, as far as I've noticed, according to the forms of the actual Wikipedia and stuff like that, what that creating doors can do is that you can able to it actually takes you back to the last save point. So, that'll be interesting, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, that'll be coming handy if you're having a hard time trying to able to explore the game as much as you can, just because, well, again, I don't normally know this game as much compared to the Wario Land trilogy of games, or should I say, Wario Land Saga, and on top of all that stuff though, including Wario World as well, so, anyways though, yeah, I guess that's about that. Oh, have you ever heard about something related to the forms of My Little Pony, Make Your Mark, series? What about it? Well, apparently though, they're about to be able to be doing a Christmas special of any sort, later on this month. And apparently, from what I've noticed, I just found out something a little bit more terrifying. Oh, what's that exactly? You noticed about the fact that, do you even remember the most disturbing image? You remember with the forms the unfinished version of one of those episodes in Friendship is Magic called, the Mean Six? Oh yeah, you know with the one with the fact that, well, the evil Queen Chrysalis managed able to create the Mean Six counterparts of the Main Six. Except with Starlight Glimmer, just because that she wants revenge against with Starlight Glimmer after the events of the 6th season. Oh yeah, what about it? Well, in comparison to the final version of that particular episode, where everything else seems to be a little bit more harmless and not so much terrifying, whilst in the unfinished version of it, holy macaroni, what the heck is happening to Twilight's eyes? Like, it's almost gonna be like, gruesome look. Oh yeah, don't tell me they're gonna do the same thing for... Well, I'm afraid, Mighty, is the fact that for what I've seen screenshots of the actual, well, let's just say by the forms of My Little Pony, Winter Wish Day or something like that. Mind you, it's been a very long while since I actually, last seen something related to, Generation 5 of My Little Pony, because I will have to admit it though right away, and especially noticeable, I have to be brutally honest with you guys, I'm actually not a big fan of G5 anymore. Well, it is fine for the first time, but after looking back on it though, after like, used to watching Friendship is Magic a lot of times, I think suffice to say, and I'll have to admit it though right away, I think this is actually the weakest generation I've ever seen so far. Well, that's not to say that's not a bad thing, like, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it just feels a bit all over the place, like, ranging from its story arc, and on top of all that stuff though, it's just the actual animation just feels a bit, well, at the very least, a new generation movie on Netflix, the animation looks so spectacular, like, with all that lighting, and the movements, and even the voice cast even though as well is actually a, you know, still a good choice from my front, but as far as, Telltale is okay enough, but as far as, Make Your Mark is concerned though, I do have the exact same issue I have from the likes of whenever I watched Kung Fu Panda the Dragon Knight the other day. Basically though, darn, we're going back into that sliding tiles minigame again, despite we failed the first time last time, so but at the very least we succeed by 2 seconds flat, so, because you know, I'm the fastest thing alive, yeah, I'm the fastest thing alive. Anyway, because no matter what though, it's the fact that, relatively speaking though, that at least the characters, well, despite, any forms of any other Kung Fu Panda films, ranging from 1, 2, and 3, that basically we got ourselves our familiar, characters we all know and love, like, Monkey and Mantis and, I can't remember what other characters they are now, because it's been a very long while since I actually last watched Kung Fu Panda films after, like, watching all kinds of stuff on my own time, ranging from Disney stuff. But either way though, that's as far as saying goes, I think that's about it basically. So, yeah, with Kung Fu Panda the Dragon Adventure, that, I do have the issue with the actual series, and that is something to do with the animation itself. Like, it's not as fluid, in comparison to the forms of how it does it on this very fast and fluid animation work on the actual films themselves. So, yeah, that's basically how this goes. So, but that's just me. But at the very least, the story itself is just all over the place. Like, I know for the fact that, well, it's basically entirely related to a different series, but at the very least that Jack Black did manage to voice Poe, ever since the actual films themselves, which I do like. But most of the time, though, it just feels a bit, I don't know what you would call it per se, because I know for the fact that I haven't exactly watched that particular series for some time, so anywho though. So as you can tell about the fact that we've actually already stumbled across the Wario hat object as we saw from a few seconds ago, that way it allows you to save your progress in any chapter, so yeah, but if you managed able to quit the level, then basically that's, there was that little, sprite animation when, Wario, the purple, wind, just somehow managed to able to go ahead and run on screen on the actual, whatever the chapter you're in. Basically though, that is your safe progressioning, so, yeah, I was fault about that. So because of that though, yeah, not much else to say about this. So let's grab some more coins here, thanks to that little blue star icon, and oh god, those currents. And I get the strong sense of feeling we do need Cosmic Wario to get down there, and if I recall correctly, that's there's another green chest in there, so we'll go ahead and deal with the chandeliers, and oh snap, it looks like one of them breaks, so yep, it did break. Hey. Now, I suppose I should probably mention about this also, is the fact that, relatively speaking, yeah, let's get back into the forms of that particular disturbing image that I mentioned to you, Mighty. Oh yeah, what about it? Well, I've already mentioned about this briefly, is the fact that, unfortunately though, you know with the forms of the My Little Pony, the Christmas special coming up, and during at some point until this month, oh yeah, that you already mentioned to me loads of times already. Yeah, it's actually called Winter Wish Day, and as far as I'm aware, oh my god, what the hell's happening to the forms of Zip's eyes? It's almost like, well, let's just say, for example, I think there was a video called What's Wrong with Zip's Face in Winter Wish Day reveal, and for what I've noticed from the start though, it just feels a bit dislocated and stuff like that, specifically her eye. So I was like, oh my god, why did they have to do this? Well, I've got no words to think about it. In fact, let me tell you something right off the gate though, Mighty. After I finished watching Winter Wish Day, I have to be brutally honest here, I think I should probably just quit Generation 5, because, well, I just got no words. I've got no words to think about it. I'd much rather go back onto Friendship is Magic a lot more, just because of its interesting storytelling, and on top of that, memorable characters and memorable set pieces, depending on the forms of certain stimulations, and on top of all that stuff though, that you mentioned about, a lot of times, comedy, so... Well, there are still some comedy here and there in Generation 5 though, but I just felt a little bit lacking when it comes to, like, hearing the actual humor and stuff like that, so... But that's just me. I might be biased, I guess, so... Sadly to say, that eventually, when we watch the Winter Wish Day, that'll be it. That will be basically about it for the entire purpose of Generation 5 as a result, because... I don't know, it just... I've got no words. But at the very least, the characters are interesting, but still. Anywho, so as you can see, we actually stumbled across another disguise, and this one appears to be, well, as far as I'm aware, Genius Wario, which basically all it does, it just scans certain spots that you haven't exactly come across into, and that is it, really. That is literally it with this particular disguise transformation, so... Now, I'm sure it's one of those optional stuff, I suppose, but either way, though, it's just... I just got no words to able to think about for the sake of, like, not knowing of what I was expecting to do, so... But I digress. Oh yeah, I should probably also mention about this, actually, is the fact that, relatively speaking, according to the info on the official eShop page for Sonic Frontiers, because relatively speaking, we only got about 4 more days left now until that game is going to be released. So, yeah, apparently, anyway, Sega has used AMD Fantility FX Super Resolution, or FSR, to squeeze an extra bit of visual clarity out of the experience on the Switch version. That would make Sonic Frontiers the 4th Switch game to do so, following the footsteps of Nintendo Switch Sports, Splatoon 3, and Life is Strange True Colors. So this means about the fact that it might able to actually improve, you know, the actual graphical technology when it comes to, like, well, obviously the Switch version of the Sonic Frontiers game has been confirmed to have a new enhanced graphics technology, so I might be very impressive with that stuff now, so but at the very least I can able to play the game on the go once that comes out, and then sure enough we are still pretty much gonna have to deal with that particular Let's Play at some point until 2023, alongside with maybe Sonic Origins? So either way though, that might be saying much, so... Oh yeah, I also want to point things out is the fact that you even watched The Incredible Hulk? What about it? Remember the films of the very first episode, which is basically the pilot of the TV series called The Incredible Hulk, from the Incredible Hulk TV series in Season 1, Episode 1, has officially become 45 years old. Jesus Louise, where did all time go? Well, I was wondering about that though, Mighty. I was just wondering about that. Well, usually I haven't watched that much Marvel stuff as I used to be, but hopefully I might get back into it at some point. And, oh wait a minute, this is not the way I was supposed to go. I was expecting to do some more exploration, but of course, I've not known this game all that much though, like I said before, but... I've got nothing else to add, so... Oh well, we'll just have to go with it anyway, so let it be. Just let it be. Oh, and I should probably also mention about this as well, is the fact that the next game, in terms of the forms of the release of 2023, known as the forms of Puzzle Bubble Every Bubble, is going to be coming out until next spring in 2023. So, yeah, that's not much else to say about this, so... And, also, do you even remember there was actually a film called Sausage Party? Oh, yeah, what about it? Well, apparently that is the fact that they're gonna be bringing the series back, but in the forms of the actual streaming TV event. Or, if I like to call it, like... Oh my god, they're about to do a series, aren't they? Syndrome. Like, basically, you know how the fact that, Sausage Party exists in 2016? Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. Well, apparently they're doing a series of all things, known as Sausage Party Foodtopia. Oh my god, really? Well, apparently they certainly think it's real, so I almost first thought that was gonna be a fake for a moment, but apparently though, it exists, so... I've got no words. Anyway, and unfortunately though, there are some bad news we'd like to tell you for the sake of the forms of today's video, or in some cases though, it did happen about a few weeks ago. Excuse me, I've got something on my throat there, I do apologize for that. Apparently, one of those, producers of Sega Games, Limited, that, you know, that female guy, or that female, worker called, Riko Kodama, that she sadly passed away, that, you know, she usually spent over 30 years at Sega, that she sadly passed away. Oh no, that can't be good. And not only that, there's also Jerry Lee Lewis, that he did the legendary rock and roll singer and pianist known for Great Balls of Fire, that he also passed away, that he was aged for about 87. So, and he was the last survivor of his musical era, which includes the likes of Johnny Cash and Elvis. Oh, jeez, I honestly have no words to think about it. Yeah, I know, because at this point the future is gonna be bleak at points. Now, I suppose I should probably mention about the last thing I want to mention, or actually I'll mention two more things while this is going on. Basically, there was actually that particular duology kind of game is going to be eventually coming to the West for the Nintendo Switch called R-Type Tactics 1-2 Cosmos. So, yeah, I think that's going to be releasing at some point. I would say, in any case though, I think relatively speaking though, in any case in Japan, it won't be released until summer 2023. So, yeah, I guess that's that, I suppose. And also, that's, actually, I'll get into more details on that in a moment, because here we have the next boss fight, which apparently is a sequel to the first boss in the game, apparently. Oh, this is what this is going? And this is apparently the forms of Mad Hat Mark II. So basically, in order to deal with this boss battle right here, is the fact that we need to transform into Cosmic Wario for a bit until you're able to actually fire the actual beam right at it on the top hat's eye. because that is what appears to be the actual stun weak spot. And afterwards though, you have to quickly transform into RT Wario, and then you have to create a block, and that way it should able to pop up, you know, Count Cannonoi, and basically you can able to actually just to jump on him just like in forms of how it does on the first boss. So yeah, not much else to this guy, aside from the fact that the annoying part about the forms of certain boss fights and the entire game essentially is that, again, you're not able to transform into something, you have to draw into those specific shapes by utilizing the stylus, and let me tell you, every time whenever I do something like this, it just goes into that particular attack instead. Like, it's the most unresponsible thing I've ever encountered for it, but anyway. So let's go ahead and just finish him off like so, with only one hit left. And there he goes. Hey, now we've actually gotten that. So apparently we actually stumbled across this strange object in the actual, the thing itself, downwards to, what's it say, like a basement or something? And I think, according to that particular artifact though, Sonic, I think this what appears to be the Wish Stone. Oh, is that what it is? So, oh yeah, because I can see Wario's trying to wish something, so I totally see the idea about that. But anywho, also not only that, I suppose I should probably want to mention about the last thing is the fact that in terms of today's discussion, apparently though, that Fall Guys is actually getting a the Doctor Who themed event. So basically though, is the fact that, well, it's actually known as Fall Guys TARDIS Treats or Threats or something like that. Although, mind you, until when it gets to the point until on the 6th of November, then basically the event itself will be finished and over. So relatively speaking though, well, as far as I would like to mention something related to Fall Guys for a second, because unfortunately though, we have no longer interested with Fall Guys anymore. So I know it seems kind of sucks though, to be able to actually lose interest with Fall Guys in my opinion. But regardless of such though, it's just the fact that we just want to move on to other stuff, I suppose. So in some cases though, that's not much right to home about, I guess. So, but anyway, oh geez, it looks like we actually could have to collect 4 of these. Okay, so that might be, surely it's something, I guess, but I suppose we'll find out more details about them. And so whenever we, you know, get into like every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, essentially, because as far as I'm aware, that's I'm basically almost done with Super Mario Bros. 2 on the NES. So yeah, and hopefully I should able to finish that until possibly next Thursday, like I said before, since in yesterday's video. So yeah, if you want to able to be curious about the forms of that particular process goes. So also, we'd like to point things out, everyone. Thank you for our support for our channel, because we're now on to 627, or in Lilo Stitch acknowledgement, 627, which is basically Leroy Experiment. Oh yeah, because you know with is it Ruben or Ruben from the likes of 625 in Leroy and Stitch or something? Well, I know for the fact it's been a long time since I actually last watched Leroy and Stitch, but I do know it's on Disney+, so, and obviously 626 is obviously Stitch. And if I recall correctly, 624 is Angel, although I may be wrong, but either way though, let me know in the comments below. So, anyways though, so let me go ahead and double check on the actual catalog for its pages and all that stuff though. Oh, looks like we got something gold. Wow. Mind you, about the fact of the matter is though, we got the Wish Stone, so I guess that's something. So, well, mind you, about the fact that we haven't got that much treasures around here, but if we do ended up missing certain treasures though, well, like I mentioned this before, that as soon as we're done with most of the levels throughout the game, then we can obviously go back for it, because we've decided able to actually just try our best if we actually aim for 100% completion if possible. Well, again, depending on the forms of our lacking with our exploration skills, unlike Metroid, that we actually obviously know what to expect when it comes to exploration type of scenarios. So But anyway though, I think that's as far as we can able to save for this point, and suffice to say, and obviously the game automatically saves, so yeah, anyway, so let's go ahead and end things off here. So join us next time for more of Let's Play of Wario, Master of Disguise. Is the fact that we are moving on to episode 3. I remember dreading that episode, if only because of that one thing, but I'll save that until when it gets to on Monday. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Later, fellas. See you dudes later.